politics now. The Patriotic Alliance has withdrawn from 7 coalitions. This means that the ANC may lose power in several local municipalities. So in which municipalities exactly is this likely to happen? And what does it mean for the Patriotic Alliance to have crossed over to the DA multi-party coalition? Let's talk now to eNCA reporter Govan Whittles, who always tracks these things quite closely and will help us join the dots. Govan, what kind of changes will the Patriotic Alliance be making before we unpack the impact thereof?
Well, some significant changes, particularly in areas where it does have that national power sharing agreement with the ANC, and it's removing itself from these coalitions after a number of developments. So there's Nelson Mandela Bay, there's the Kokama municipality, which is in the Eastern Cape, there's the Knysna municipality, there's the Oudtshoorn municipality, and then there are 4 others envisioned. They're including JB Marks, they're also including Bloemfontein, and then a number of others which the Patriotic Alliance president will elaborate on this week. He's first given a warning that they'll withdraw from the Nelson Mandela Bay, Kokama and Knysna municipalities, as well as Oudtshoorn, after they were unhappy with how jobs were allocated in that area, saying that people from other parties managed to get jobs where there were vacancies at departments at the municipal level, and he believes that the failure for PA people to get jobs means that it's not worth being in that coalition anymore. But this, of course, is now the 3rd time that the PA is either threatening or enforcing the changes to the coalition. We know that it's changed in Gauteng, that it's now on side with the Democratic Alliance in Ekurhuleni and Johannesburg, but it seems that it's willing to make these changes without much regard for the frequency thereof. And this is starting to raise some questions about whether or not the electorate will bite back, not only at the next local government elections, but more particularly in 2024, when the PA is hoping to secure enough power to go into national parliament. I spoke to an analyst about this, and let's have a listen to what he had to say about the effects of this chop and changing by the Patriotic Alliance.
Transactional politics, which I think the Patriotic Alliance are masters at, there's a negative perception about it, but it doesn't always have to be negative. So if the Patriotic Alliance are saying that we are withdrawing our support in Knysna from the DA because they are not taking voters seriously and they're not taking our constituents seriously, and we're going to work with the ANC and its partners, and that's going to result in better service delivery, then that strategy might play off for the Patriotic Alliance. However, voters are just going to see coalitions chopping and changing every 6 months and service delivery going backwards rather than forward, and they're going to attribute that to the Patriotic Alliance, then that type of politics isn't going to work for the Patriotic Alliance. So it might work now, but I think particularly residents in those municipalities which are affected will get sick of this if this becomes too often a theme in politics in those towns or cities.
And interestingly, Govan, this withdrawal is not just about the Patriotic Alliance being unhappy with other political parties, but also with its own councillors. What's that about?
Well, that's about the councillors failing to deliver. Remember, the Patriotic Alliance's core belief is that it can justify chop and changing and switching sides all the time if it's able to place its members into jobs and its constituency into jobs. In fact, it says it would even go into a coalition with the AWB if the AWB would give them a position which would empower them to give jobs to their constituency. And now, Gayton McKenzie saying he's not happy with the way the councillors who have been put into those positions in these councils have been operating, saying that they're being essentially outplayed and outrun by the ANC, the DA and other smaller parties, even the Northern Alliance in Nelson Mandela Bay, outrunning and outplaying the PA councillors there. He says that the PA councillors are busy chilling while other councillors from other parties are giving their members jobs. And of course the PA is having a new experience here. It's put a number of people who didn't have political background or experience into positions of MMCs and councillors. And Gayton McKenzie says that this coming week they'll be dealing with a lot of their own councillors, making changes and bringing in people who would be able to fight for their constituency to get jobs. This is crucial for them because if they fail on this front, Tulasizwe, then they've basically failed to deliver on their core promise, and it wouldn't look good for them ahead of 2024.
Sure. Govan, this obviously has implications for the ANC, right? Any hopes of wresting back control of some of these municipalities depends on them at least maintaining what they have at the moment and then reeling in what they need to get them over the threshold, to get a mayor elected, to get a speaker elected, to take control of municipal council committees. If one of the elements of this loose coalition that they have cobbled together in some of these municipalities is pulling in a different direction, it doesn't bode well for them in many of these municipalities.
It doesn't bode well for them at all, and that's been the seriousness of this has been reflected in meetings that happened this past week, where we understand Zamani Saul, the Premier of the Northern Cape, met with Gayton McKenzie's leadership, and they discussed how the PA and the ANC will govern alongside each other in coalitions in the Northern Cape. Gayton McKenzie saying that he was very happy with that meeting and for the seriousness with which Zamani Saul and the ANC took that meeting, but it does indicate that the ANC is aware that they'll need to keep the PA on side to maintain control of key areas. Remember, the ANC has done something unprecedented here, which is hand control of an entire local municipality to an opposition party which didn't win the majority of votes. That's the Karoo-Wigland municipality, where the PA has a mayor and all the MMCs and essentially governs the council. Now, that was done so that the PA support for the ANC could be guaranteed in other areas. And now with the PA shifting sides, it means that the ANC could re-look at the Karoo-Wigland deal, or it could talk to the PA again, get them back on side to ensure that they're able to maintain that Karoo-Wigland municipality, which is essentially an experiment for the Patriotic Alliance in trying to roll out its policies. So the ANC in a bit of trouble here, but it does still have that leverage, which by all indications looks like it will use sooner or later.
Lastly, Govan, I remember a conversation I had with the Patriotic Alliance's Kenny Gunene in November last year, just after the elections, where I had suggested to him that this was an unexpected kind of, turn in terms of aligning with the ANC, given the grievances that the, Patriotic Alliance had laid at the doorstep of the ANC. But I mean, this kind of chopping and changing and shifting allegiances is nothing new for the Patriotic Alliance, at least in the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, right? Marlon Daniels was a key player in the last administration at local government, and this was part of the feature of that story.
It was indeed, and after Marlon Daniels was made MMC of Sports, Arts and Culture, I think it didn't last long before he was out of that coalition government once again. But it does show that the PA at this moment appears a bit desperate to fulfill its promise on giving its constituency jobs, because without the fulfillment of that province, it really will struggle to explain how it went into a relationship with the ANC, then backed out, went into the relationship with the DA, seems like it's ready to back out and go back to the ANC again. Doesn't appear that there are political principles here, so they need the jobs promise to materialize for them to retain some sort of credibility.